Welcome to NASDAQ Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, global markets reporter at NASDAQ. Criminals are the original entrepreneurs. They're always thinking of new ways to make a lot of money. As our world becomes more and more digital, criminals are digitizing too. They are finding ways to access business banking accounts and help themselves to your money. October is National Cybersecurity Awareness Month, so you're probably hearing about this from various places right now. And joining me to discuss is Andrea Shaw, partner at the law firm Practice, who has extensive experience on the regulatory and legal side of cybersecurity enforcement. Andrea, welcome to Trade Talks.
Thank you so much for having me.
Let's start with an overview of cybercrimes impacting businesses and what to do if you find yourself in this unfavorable position.
Sure, but we're only going to touch upon a couple of cybercrimes today because if we wanted to go through the whole litany of them, we'd probably have to be here all week. So the low-hanging fruit, if you will, the things that are common that businesses see a lot are phishing with a PH, not an F. Phishing is when somebody is trying to contact you, usually via email or a link through text. Email's the most common. And they're trying to learn more about you and get enough information about you so they can take that information and access other data and things that you possess because you use that information as your passwords or in your security questions. Another common cybercrime is the bad guys put malware on your computers. They usually need phishing first so they can get access, but the malware gives them access to more information on your computer. It can have a keystroke logger to track your passwords. It also gives them a backdoor to get in to add things like ransomware, which is another thing we're seeing right now a lot of. And ransomware is just like it sounds. The criminals get in there, they encrypt all your data, and they ransom it back to you. And last, but certainly not least, is corporate account takeover. This one makes me particularly nervous because I think this has a big impact from the financial standpoint, especially for a small business, where the bad guys get the credentials to your online banking account. And once they get in there, they can transfer that money anywhere they want. They can wire transfer it if your system has that capacity, or they can do an ACH. They can basically clean out your online accounts.
That, I would imagine as a business, you'd feel incredibly vulnerable and helpless. So can you provide some context and give us a recent example of a corporate account takeover, how it was discovered and resolved?
So interestingly enough, you don't hear about corporate account takeovers a lot in the news. And that's because when they happen and they have those sort of losses, no one wants to publicize it because it could mean loans getting called because they worry now that you're going to file for bankruptcy. So unless something eventually gets litigated, because oftentimes businesses and the banking institutions end up in lawsuits over it, you aren't going to really hear about it. These aren't the sexy ones like ransomware. Those are the ones you hear about all the time. And the way this is discovered is you, business owner, go to log into your account and there's no money there, or you get an overdraft notice from your bank and think, golly gee, that's not quite right. So it's really usually discovered by the business owner once the money's already gone.
How do you keep from becoming a victim of corporate account takeover?
Of course, it's all practicing good online security, which starts with virus protection and strong passwords, which everybody hears about all the time. But the other important thing is have strong internal policies. So if you have employees that have access to your online banking credentials, make sure that especially those machines also can't access high-risk online sites like social networking sites. Block those. There's no reason most employees need access to that while they're working, unless of course you're a journalist, because you probably need to have access to those types of things, but there are some unique exceptions. Be mindful of that. The other thing is make sure that wherever you're banking or even accessing your computer systems, you're using what's called multi-factor authentication. And that's when you have different levels of security just to get in. So it's always something you know and something you have. Your login name and password is something you know, and then something you have could be you get a text message that says, please type this code in order to get full access. So multi-factor authentication is really important. Another important thing is banks actually offer products, especially in the small business area, to help prevent these types of things from happening. And I feel like this is something a lot of small businesses have never heard of. For example, a great product, now you have to pay for it, but I really believe an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, is called positive pay, where if you're making payments from your online bank account, it will say, I know I only make payments to these 5 vendors. So if you see a payment being asked to go out to anybody but these 5 vendors, put that on a special list and send it to me so I can say, yes, I really want to send this. And they have it for checks, they have it for ACH, they have it for different types of transactions. Your bank may have a cute product name for it, but talk to your banking specialist about what they have available to help prevent this. Your bank doesn't want this to happen to the small businesses or their consumers or anybody either, because even if you can stop it or get the money back, it costs everybody a lot of time and money in that process.
What should companies do if they fall victim?
The first thing they need to do is notify their bank immediately, as fast as they can. Pick up the phone. Don't call. Pick up the phone. Don't send an email, because sometimes they can block the transfers. Depending on how it was done, they may be able to recall the transfers. Wire transfers are the most difficult, but there are ways to try to claw money back that go out from a wire transfer. And of course, you always want to file a police report, even if it's unlikely that they're going to be able to strongly assist with recovery of any funds. You never know what types of large schemes they are investigating and what will be the key to unlocking it. And of course, you need to change all your passwords to something strong, and you want to make sure your virus protection is always updated.
All right, Andrea, valuable advice. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks.
Thanks for having me.
And thanks for joining me. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at NASDAQ.